Don't choose too quickly. One of them wants your heart, but only one can carry the weight of your future. And I need you to hear that before emotion makes the decision for you. There are two people moving toward you right now. Two different energies, two different doors, two different versions of what your life could become. One may come with history, with memories, with words that touch the old places in you. The other may come quietly, without drama, without forcing anything, but with a peace so unfamiliar that you may almost mistake it for weakness. I have seen this before. I have watched people run back to what wounded them simply because it felt known. I have watched others reject what God was sending because it did not arrive with thunder, chaos, or desperation. And I am telling you now, the greatest danger in this season is not that no one wants you. The danger is that you may choose the person who awakens your emotions, while ignoring the one who protects your peace. You have prayed for clarity, but clarity often comes as a confrontation. It asks you to stop romanticizing confusion. It asks you to stop calling anxiety chemistry. It asks you to stop confusing someone's return with God's approval. Maybe you have been asking, Lord, who is the one? But the deeper question is, who helps me become more faithful to you? Who respects the person you are forming in me? Who does not pull me back into the version of myself I had to survive? C. 17th. Lewis often led us back to this uncomfortable truth. The heart was never meant to be its own master. When desire sits on the throne, even love can become an idol. But when God sits on the throne, even a difficult choice becomes a doorway into peace. So stay with me, because this message is not just about romance. It is about discernment. It is about obedience. It is about whether you will let loneliness decide for you, or whether you will wait long enough to recognize the difference between a person who wants access to you and a person who is truly aligned with your calling. By the end of this message, you will not just ask, who wants me? You will ask the question that changes everything. Who can walk with me without pulling me away from God? Now I want you to understand this clearly. When two people appear in your life at the same time, it does not always mean your life is falling into confusion. Sometimes God allows two doors to stand before you so you can finally see the difference between what once touched your emotions and what now has the ability to honor your spirit. One door may carry memory, history, old tenderness, unfinished questions, and the familiar ache of what could have been. The other may carry quietness, patience, order, and a peace that feels almost strange because it does not demand that you lose yourself to keep it. But here is where many people misunderstand love. They think the strongest feeling must be the clearest sign. It is not always so. Discernment is not born when everything is easy to understand. Discernment is formed when your emotions are loud, but your spirit still chooses to listen for God. One person may make you feel wanted, but another may make you feel safe enough to grow. One person may know your past, but another may know how to respect the future God is building in you. And this is the deeper truth. Not every open door is an invitation from heaven. Some doors open because you never fully closed them. Some people return because your healing has made you shine in a way they did not expect. Some people come back not because they are ready to love you rightly, but because they can feel that you are no longer waiting in the same place. And some new people arrive not to rescue you, not to complete you, but to show you that love does not have to feel like anxiety, guessing, begging, or emotional survival. This is where responsibility begins. You cannot control who wants you, who misses you, who regrets losing you. or who suddenly recognizes your value, but you are responsible for what you allow near your peace. You are responsible for the patterns you repeat. You are responsible for whether you choose from loneliness or from wisdom. C.S. Lewis often pointed toward this uncomfortable truth when the human heart tries to rule itself without surrender. It can turn even good desires into idols. That is why this decision is not only romantic, it is spiritual. It is about stewardship. It is about obedience. It is about whether you will let God guide your affections instead of allowing old wounds to choose for you. So slow down before you decide. Ask yourself, does this connection make me clearer or more confused? Does it draw me closer to God or deeper into fear? Does it honor the person I am becoming? Or does it invite me back into the version of myself I had to survive? Because this season is not here to punish you. It is here to prove that you are no longer the same person who once accepted uncertainty as love. And next, we need to talk carefully about the person from your past. Now let us speak carefully about the first person, the one who comes from your past. I want to be gentle here, but I also want to be honest, because this is where many hearts become confused. This person is not a stranger to your soul. There is history here. There are memories, conversations, moments you thought would last longer, promises that may have been spoken too quickly, and wounds that perhaps never received a proper ending. When this person comes back into your mind or back into your life, they do not arrive empty-handed. They bring emotion with them. They bring nostalgia. They bring the version of you that once hoped, waited, explained, forgave, and believed that if you loved hard enough, maybe they would finally become ready. But I want you to understand this. Clearly, missing someone is not the same as being called back to them. A familiar feeling is not always a divine confirmation. Sometimes the heart trembles not because God is saying yes, but because an old wound has been touched again. This person may return with softer words than before. They may speak with regret. They may say they understand now. They may tell you they have changed, that they see your worth, that they did not know what they had until distance taught them the cost of losing you. And maybe some of that is true. I am not here to say every person from the past is evil, false, or incapable of growth. God can humble anyone. Grace can reach anyone. Time can teach what pride once refused to learn. But here is where you must be wise. Regret is not the same as repentance. And emotion is not the same as transformation. Someone can miss the comfort you gave them without being ready to honor the calling God placed on your life. Someone can miss your kindness without having learned how to protect it. Someone can want another chance without having developed the character required to steward that chance well. C.S. Lewis often pointed us toward the deeper truth that love without humility can become possession, and desire without surrender can become idolatry. That is why you cannot simply ask, "Do they still want me?" You must ask, "Have they become someone who can love me with truth, humility, patience, and obedience?" Look beyond the words. Watch the pattern. Do they respect your boundaries? Or do they pressure you to move faster than your peace allows? Do they take responsibility? Or do they only speak beautifully about pain while avoiding the part they played in it? Do they honor the person you have become? Or do they keep trying to pull you back into the version of you that was easier to access? This is your moment of discipline. Not coldness, not bitterness. Discipline. You are not required to reopen a door just because someone knocks with tears in their eyes. You are allowed to pause. You are allowed to pray. You are allowed to test the fruit over time. If this part is speaking to you, write in the comments, "Lord, give me wisdom," and share this with someone who keeps mistaking someone's return for God's approval. Because in the next part, we need to talk about the second person, the one who may not arrive with drama, but may carry the peace your soul has been asking for. The second person, the one who comes with peace, not chaos. And I need you to pay close attention here, because this person may not awaken the same kind of emotional storm that the past awakens. They may not arrive with dramatic apologies, intense declaration, or a history that pulls your heart back into old rooms. They may come quietly. They may come steadily. They may enter your life in a way that feels almost too simple at first. And that is why you must be careful not to overlook them. Sometimes what God sends does not come dressed in panic. Sometimes it comes dressed in peace. This person carries a different kind of energy. They do not make you feel as though you must perform to be noticed. They do not keep you guessing for days, then return with just enough attention to make you forget how lonely you felt. They do not turn affection into a game of distance and reward. Instead, there is a clarity in them, a steadiness, a willingness to know you without trying to possess you. And if you have spent years confusing anxiety with passion, this may feel unfamiliar. You may even ask yourself, why does this feel so calm? Why am I not afraid? Why do I not feel the need to chase? But do not call peace boring just because chaos once trained your nervous system to expect pain. I want you to understand this clearly. A healthy connection will not always entertain your wounds. Sometimes it will expose how addicted you became to uncertainty. This new person may not flatter every insecure place in you, but they will respect the person God is helping you become. Their words will not be perfect, because no human being is perfect, but their actions will begin to match what they say. They will not only speak interest, they will show consistency. They will not only say they care, they will make room to understand your values, your pace, your boundaries, your faith, and your purpose. And this is where everything begins to change. Because the right person is not simply someone who desires you. The right person is someone who can walk beside you without pulling you away from obedience. They will not make you feel guilty for needing time. They will not punish you for having standards. They will not mock the seriousness of your walk with God. They will understand that love is not just emotion, it is stewardship. It is patience. It is honor. It is two people learning how to serve something higher than their own desires. The spirit of C. As rappers, Lewis's writings reminds us that real love does not make the self larger. It slowly teaches the self to kneel. And that is why this person's presence may feel different. They are not trying to become your God. They are not demanding that you build your entire peace around them. Instead, they make it easier for you to remain honest, prayerful, disciplined, and whole. But do not be naive. You still must observe. Peace does not mean you stop testing fruit. Watch how they respond when things do not go their way. Watch how they handle your boundaries. Watch whether their kindness remains consistent when there is nothing immediate to gain. If this connection is truly aligned, it will not require you to abandon your discernment. It will confirm it. And before you decide, we must go even deeper. Because even the right person can feel wrong when your heart is still choosing from an unhealed place. But before you decide who is right for you, I need to bring the light closer to your own heart. Because your real test is not only between two people. Your real test is what you still believe about yourself when love stands in front of you. Many people choose wrongly, not because they are foolish, but because they are still wounded. A wounded heart can mistake anxiety for chemistry. It can mistake distance for mystery. It can mistake inconsistency for depth. It can look at someone who keeps them uncertain and say, maybe this is passion, when in truth, it is only an old fear wearing romantic clothing. And I say this with compassion, because I know how easily the soul can cling to what is familiar, even when the familiar has been painful. If you have spent years trying to prove that you are worthy of being chosen, you may feel drawn to the person who makes you work hardest for affection. If you have been abandoned, ignored, or treated like an option, you may confuse relief with love when someone finally gives you attention. But attention is not always alignment. Desire is not always devotion. And being wanted is not the same as being cherished. This is where everything begins to change. Because God is not only asking, who do you want? He is also asking, from what place inside you are you choosing? Are you choosing from peace or from panic? Are you choosing from faith or from the fear that nothing better will come? Are you choosing because your spirit is settled or because your loneliness is shouting louder than your wisdom? I want you to understand this clearly. God is not ashamed of your wounds, but He will not allow your wounds to sit on the throne forever. He loves you too much to let fear become your counselor. He loves you too much to let rejection become your compass. See, St. Lewis often wrote with the understanding that the human soul is never healed by becoming its own ruler. It is healed when it comes back under the loving authority of God. That is why this decision must be surrendered before it is acted upon. Do not rush because someone is offering emotion. Do not return because someone is finally saying the words you once begged to hear. Do not reject peace simply because your nervous system has not learned how to rest inside it yet. Here is the practical part. Before you answer the message, before you agree to the meeting, before you open the old door or trust the new one, pause, pray. Write down what you are no longer willing to repeat. Write down what peace actually looks like. Ask yourself, does this connection make me more obedient, more honest, more whole? Clarity is a discipline. You do not drift into wisdom, you practice it. And the deeper truth is this: the right person will not require you to abandon the healing God has already begun. So now the question is no longer, who wants me? The question is, who helps me become more faithful to God? Now I want to show you how to recognize the person who is truly aligned with God's purpose for your life. Because the right person is not simply the one who wants you the most. Desire alone is not enough. Attention alone is not enough. Emotional intensity alone is not enough. Someone can want access to your heart and still not have the character to protect it. Someone can feel strongly about you and still pull you away from the peace, discipline, and obedience God has been building inside you. So the question is not only, do they love me? The deeper question is, can this love live under God's authority? The person who is truly aligned will not make you smaller in order to keep them comfortable. They will not require you to abandon your convictions, silence your discernment, or lower your standards just to prove that you care. They may not be perfect, because no person is perfect, but there will be a humility in them that makes growth possible. They will be able to listen without always defending themselves. They will be able to apologize without turning the whole conversation back on you. They will be able to respect a boundary without treating it like rejection. And I want you to pay attention to this. The right person will not only be interested in your beauty, your attention, your affection, or your presence, They will be interested in your becoming. They will care about the person God is shaping you into. They will not be threatened by your healing. They will not mock your faith. They will not pull you into a life where you must choose between pleasing them and obeying God. That is one of the clearest signs. Peace. But not the shallow peace that simply means there are no arguments. I mean the deeper peace that lets your spirit breathe. A peace that does not force you to overthink every message, decode every silence, or beg for basic respect. The second sign is consistency. Watch whether their actions and words live in the same house. A person can speak beautifully in a moment, but consistency reveals what they truly carry. The third sign is humility. Do they know how to be corrected? Do they take responsibility? Do they care more about truth than winning? The fourth sign is purpose. Are they building something with you? Or only consuming emotion from you? Do they strengthen your focus, your stewardship, your calling? Or do they drain your attention until you forget what God asked you to carry? And the fifth sign is obedience. They will respect timing. They will respect purity. They will respect wisdom. They will not pressure you to move faster than your conscience allows. C. Lewis helps us remember that love is not merely affection. It is a school where the self is slowly dethroned. Real love does not make two people worship each other. It teaches them to look upward together. So do not choose the person who only makes you feel wanted. Choose the one whose presence makes you more truthful, more steady, more prayerful, more alive in God. Choose the one who does not compete with your calling, but honors it. And if you are still unsure, do not panic. God is not asking you to rush. He is asking you to see clearly. But before you make that final decision, there is one more thing we must face. Sometimes peace feels unfamiliar when chaos is all you have known. I need to speak to the part of you that may not know how to receive peace yet. Because if you have survived emotional chaos for a long time, peace can feel suspicious. When you are used to guessing where you stand, a clear person can feel strange. When you are used to chasing attention, steady affection can almost feel too quiet. When you are used to love arriving with confusion, distance, mixed signals, and sudden disappearances, a healthy connection may not immediately feel exciting. It may feel unfamiliar, and this is where many people run back to what broke them. Not because it was better, but because it was known. I want you to understand this clearly. Your nervous system can become trained by pain. You can become so accustomed to uncertainty that when someone finally treats you with patience, respect, and consistency, a part of you begins to ask, where is the catch? You start looking for danger where there may only be safety. You start doubting sincerity because manipulation once wore the same language. You start testing peace because chaos taught you that nothing good stays. But do not let your past become the judge of what God is trying to heal in your present. Do not let old disappointment interrogate every new blessing until it has no room to breathe. This does not mean you become naive. This does not mean you ignore discernment. It means you stop confusing fear with wisdom. There is a difference between the Holy Spirit warning you and your old wound panicking because something good feels unfamiliar. And that difference matters. Fear rushes. Wisdom waits. Fear accuses before it understands. Wisdom observes patiently. Fear says, run before you are hurt again. Wisdom says, slow down, pray, watch the fruit, and let God reveal what is true. C. Lewis often carried the idea that the soul cannot find rest by trying to control every possible outcome. It finds rest when it returns to the one who holds all outcomes. That is what you must practice now, not just in love, but in your daily life. Before you reply from anxiety, pause. Before you assume the worst, pray. Before you sabotage something peaceful because it does not feel like what you are used to, ask yourself, is this discernment, or is this an old injury speaking? That question may save you from repeating a cycle God is trying to break. And this is also where discipline becomes spiritual. You do not have to answer every message immediately. You do not have to make a decision while your emotions are loud. You do not have to prove your worth by over-explaining your heart to someone who should be willing to understand with patience. If this is speaking to you, subscribe and stay close to this channel. Because we are not just talking about relationships here. We are talking about becoming the kind of person who can recognize what God is sending without running back to what wounded you. And next, I want to show you why your story is not only for you. What you survive with God may become the very testimony someone else needs. This story is not only about who will love you, it is also about who you will become after God teaches you how to choose with wisdom. Because one day, someone will sit across from you with trembling eyes, trying to decide whether to go back to what wounded them or trust the peace that feels unfamiliar. And when that day comes, you will not speak from theory. You will speak from testimony. You will remember the nights when you begged God for clarity. You will remember how hard it was to release the person who knew your heart but did not know how to honor it. You will remember how strange it felt when peace first arrived, because your soul had been trained to expect disappointment. And you will be able to say, I know what it feels like, but I also know God does not waste the pain we surrender to Him. This is why you cannot treat this decision lightly. If you go back to the same confusion just because it knocks again, you are not only delaying your healing, you are delaying the testimony that could one day help someone else survive their own crossroads. Your obedience today may become someone else's courage tomorrow. Your refusal to repeat an old cycle may become proof that grace can rebuild discernment after heartbreak. Your quiet decision to choose peace may become the story that teaches another wounded soul that love does not have to feel like fear. But do not misunderstand me. A testimony is not made by pretending you were never hurt. It is made when God takes what hurt you and turns it into wisdom, humility, strength, and compassion. It is made when you stop using pain as an excuse to stay guarded forever, and instead allow God to make you both softer and wiser. That is a holy kind of strength, not bitterness, not pride, not the need to prove that you are over it. Just a steady soul that has learned, through grace, what it will no longer call love. So ask yourself, what story are you writing right now with this choice? Will it be another chapter of confusion? Or will it be the beginning of a testimony? If this message is touching your heart, like this video and share it with someone who needs courage to choose supporting. Because testimony without daily obedience becomes only a beautiful memory. And now I want to show you how to live this wisdom every single day. If it does not become a daily practice, it will disappear the moment your emotions become loud. So here is how you walk this out every day. First, pray before you respond. Not after you have already reacted. Not after you have already opened the door, answered the message, agreed to the meeting, or allowed your heart to run ahead of wisdom. Pause first, even if it is only for 30 seconds. Say, Lord, steady my heart. Let me see clearly. Do not let fear, loneliness, or excitement make this decision for me. That small pause can protect you from repeating years of pain in one impulsive moment. Second, watch patterns, not promises. Anyone can speak beautifully when they are afraid of losing access to you. Anyone can sound sincere when emotion is high, but consistency reveals character. Do they do what they say? Do they remain respectful when you do not move at their speed? Do they show care when there is nothing immediate to gain? Third, keep your boundaries holy. Boundaries are not punishment. They are stewardship. They are how you protect the peace God is rebuilding in you. If someone treats your boundary like an insult, that is information. If someone pressures you to ignore your conscience, that is information. If someone makes you feel guilty for needing wisdom, that is information. Do not throw away information just because you want the story to end beautifully. Fourth, do not rush what God is still revealing. Sometimes the reason you do not have a full answer yet is because time is part of the answer. Fruit needs time to show itself. Character needs time to appear. Motives need time to become visible. So stop demanding instant certainty when God may be teaching you patient observation. Fifth, ask what this connection produces in you. Does it produce peace, honesty, prayer, focus, and obedience? Or does it produce anxiety, distraction, compromise, and confusion? The person may say they care about you, but what is their presence cultivating in your life? And finally, stay focused on your assignment. Do not let romance become the altar where your purpose dies. Keep working, keep praying, keep building, keep becoming. Your attention is a gift, and focus is spiritual stewardship when your attention belongs first to God. When you begin to live this way, the final decision becomes clearer than you expected, because the right choice will not demand that you abandon your peace in order to keep it. Now we come to the final discernment, the question beneath every other question. Not, who wants me? Not, who misses me? Not even, who makes me feel the strongest emotion? The real question is this: who leads you closer to God? Because a person can admire you and still distract you. A person can desire you and still drain you. A person can say all the right things and still pull your heart into confusion, compromise, and fear. So do not only ask who is reaching for you, ask what happens to your soul when they get close. Do you become more prayerful, or more anxious, more honest, or more secretive, more focused, or more scattered, more peaceful, or more addicted to emotional highs and lows? The right person will not replace God in your life. They will not become the center that everything else bows down to. They will stand beside you in a way that makes it easier for you to keep listening to God. They will respect the sacred places in you. They will not laugh at your convictions, rush your conscience, or make you feel foolish for wanting a relationship built on truth. And I want you to understand this clearly: the right person does not have to be perfect. If you are waiting for someone without weakness, you will wait forever. But there is a difference between weakness and rebellion. There is a difference between a person who is growing and a person who only apologizes so they can regain access. There is a difference between someone who struggles with humility and someone who refuses it completely. C.S. Lewis's writings often remind us that love becomes dangerous when it turns the beloved into an idol. When romance takes the throne, wisdom becomes quiet. Obedience becomes negotiable, and peace becomes something you sacrifice just to keep someone near. But love that is under God's authority does not demand worship. It produces reverence, passions, truth, and courage. So, before you choose, ask, who can handle my calling without competing with it? Who makes truth easier to tell, not harder to hide? Who respects my peace without trying to purchase it with beautiful words? Who helps me become more faithful, not merely more emotional? If a connection demands that you trade your peace, your purity, your purpose, or your obedience in order to keep it, then it is asking for too much. So before this message ends, I want to leave you with one final prayer and one final decision you must make in your heart. So now, as this message comes to a close, I want you to sit with the truth you have heard. There may be two people who want you, but not everyone who wants you is assigned to walk with you. Not everyone who misses you is ready to honor you. Not everyone who desires your presence has the character to protect your peace. And not every new beginning is from God simply because it feels exciting. This is why you must choose slowly, prayerfully, and with a heart surrendered to the Lord. Do not choose because you are afraid to be alone. Do not choose because the past suddenly sounds softer than it used to. Do not choose because someone makes you feel wanted for a moment. Choose what God can bless. Choose what brings peace without pulling you away from obedience. Choose what strengthens your faith instead of weakening your discernment. Choose the person who respects the sacred work God is doing inside you. And if you do not know yet, then wait. Waiting is not weakness. Waiting can be worship when it is done in trust. You do not have to force the answer. You do not have to chase clarity through panic. You do not have to reopen every door just because someone finally learned how to knock. Let God reveal what is true. Let time expose what words can hide. Let peace become louder than fear. And let this be your prayer, Lord. Give me clean eyes to see, a steady heart to wait, and the courage to obey what you reveal, because the right person will not pull you away from God's voice. The right person will make it easier for you to keep listening. The right person will not make you trade your purpose for affection, your peace for attention, or your obedience for romance. They will walk beside you, not above God, not instead of God, but under His authority with you. If this message spoke to your heart, subscribe to this channel so you can continue receiving words that strengthen your faith, sharpen your discernment, and help you walk with wisdom. Like this video if you believe God is teaching you to choose differently in this season. Share it with someone who is standing between an old door and a new beginning. And write in the comments, Lord, I choose what brings peace. Let that be your declaration. Let that be your surrender. And remember, this love that comes from God will never require you to stop hearing Him.